Hey, what's up? I made it to CES 2025 and there is so much amazing tech that I can't wait to show you. We have a lot to see, so sit back, relax, and let's check it out. If you want a flying car, well, this is one of the closest things we have right now, and it's just classic CES. This massive 6-wheel Cybertruck looking van doesn't actually fly, but you can drive it to a spot, then the back opens up, an electric vehicle takeoff and landing vehicle slides out, and you can fly that. What? After you're done flying, it folds down and charges up in what they call the mothership. Crazy, right? They're taking intent orders now and hope to start shipping next year. There are always out-of-this-world concept cars at CES, but the Sony Afeela is finally available for pre-order, starting at around $90,000. Oh, the design is very similar to what I showed last year, and there are still no door handles. That's why I got stuck inside. It was embarrassing. The big trend this year at CES is ultra-wideband on smart locks. You can walk up to your door, and when your phone is around 3 feet away, your lock will automatically unlock. And we tried a demo and it worked really well. The lock with this feature that caught my eye the most is from Lockly. They have a screen on the inside of the door lock and you can see who's outside. My kids really need this so they're not always opening the door to see who it is. The lock can open from scanning your face and it has all the bells and whistles, but the thing I love the most is the thumb turn on the outside. It saves battery life and forces the lock closed if it's jamming on the frame. So smart. It felt like everywhere I looked at CES there were some sort of smart glasses, but there was one that really caught my eye. Pun intended, because it doesn't have a smart screen, instead it beams a screen into your eye. I didn't even know this was possible, but there's this little LED that I can slide around to point straight at my eyeball. It worked pretty well, and there were touch controls on the glasses to interact with the screen beaming into my eye. The only problem is you have to look up to see the screen, and I don't mind looking up, but explaining to my wife that I'm looking at a screen and not rolling my eyes at her, that could lead to some fights. LG always goes hard at CES, and their transparent OLED TV display is on a whole new level. Look at it, it's beautiful. But I'm still not convinced I need one, or that TV that can be carried around. Seriously, why? Who carries around a TV? Their concept AI running a home was very intense and maybe a little scary. That's coming from me, so that should tell you something. But their concept microwave was pretty sweet. Basically replacing the microwave glass door with a 27-inch tablet. It has intelligent cooking sensors, but what sold me was all of the quick start buttons, since we all know that those are the best. Of course, there are 3 cameras for the food content creators, but there's also a speaker and it can play videos on apps like YouTube. I would totally watch videos in the kitchen on my microwave. It makes way more sense than the fridge to have a screen. But I don't know, would you use something like this? Alright, something that's not gonna cost you an arm and a leg is the Linxura Aqara. It's a little smart button with an e-ink display, which makes it much more useful than a traditional smart button. The display lets you switch between different devices and not have to guess what each button does. It works with Wi-Fi, Zigbee, and Bluetooth, plus later this year, Matter devices too. You can use it to control your phone and tons of other use cases. It's $30, which isn't bad for all that it can do, and it'll be available around the middle of this year. It wouldn't be CES without lots and lots of robots. I shook hands with one, Allie gave it a hug. Whoa, slow down there. Little furry ones on a purse, plus there was one playing the piano, but somehow it wasn't that good at playing. People were going nuts over this Unitree robot dog. It was standing up and doing all these tricks, but luckily it didn't attack anyone. The price starts at $1,600, but that's so much less than the $74,000 Boston Dynamics dog. They also had a humanoid robot walking around, and if you want my opinion, these robots will not take over the world and destroy us. You know, we're ready to fight these things. What will take over the world are the cute little robots no one's expecting. Like the ones from TCL called Hey Amy. You can dress it up and look how adorable it is. Okay, let's take 3 home. They'll never turn on us. Wait a second. Oh, and stay tuned until the end for the hottest robot around. Speaking of robots, the robot vacuums had a lot of crazy updates this year at CES. SwitchBot got creative, and you can add modular attachments to their K20 Plus Pro. Then it can bring you a drink, purify the air, and maybe even have a hypothetical claw arm. The company Dreamy was like, hold my cleaning solution, and made a robot vacuum that actually has a robot arm with a claw. It can also prop itself up, and they also had one that could climb small stairs. I never saw the claw arm pick anything up, so I don't know if it really works, and it adds a lot of bulk to the top of the vacuum. Then Roborock said, that's cute, but check this out. A robotic arm with a claw that pops out of the vacuum and can fold completely into the body. Plus, it's only 7.98 centimeters tall, which is crazy thin. The mechanical arm can pick up items under 300 grams or around a half pound like socks. And the way it works is it cleans the floor around it first and then moves the obstacles out of the way so it can clean where it was. It does all of this by itself, and it was incredible to see. The vacuum is called the Saros Z70 and will be available sometime in the middle of this year. There's so much more to talk about with the claw and the other vacuums with features Roborock has never done before. Doing a dedicated video on it in a few days, so keep an eye out for it. Okay, I know AI is talked about way too much at CES, and it annoys me too, but the company Brisk It has a few implementations of it that seem interesting. Using their app, you can describe the meat you want to smoke or even upload an image. Then it uses AI to generate recipes and start cooking the food. It will guide you through any extra steps and even do things automatically, like turn down the temperature if you forgot about it, which can be helpful because smoking meat can take hours. There's also a less expensive, smaller version with all the same features coming out in February for $400. The Aqara booth was packed with never before seen smart home devices like the G410 doorbell camera. It's 2K, has facial recognition, built-in millimeter wave for presence detection, supports RTSP for Home Assistant, and integrates with Apple Home. Plus, it works as a Matter controller for Thread devices, just like the highly anticipated G5 Pro camera. They also showcase touchscreens that replace light switches, including the larger S1 Plus, which displays live camera feeds and controls Matter-enabled devices, and the sleeker Dial V1 touchscreen. Both launch in the EU this month and in the US later this year. The device that I had the most questions about was the FP300, a battery-powered millimeter wave sensor, which hasn't existed until now. It combines PIR and millimeter wave, activating millimeter wave only when the PIR detects motion, then turning it off to save battery when the room is empty. Pretty smart. Okay, this next display is super trippy and blew my mind. It's an ultra reality display like VR without the headset. But what they're announcing at CES is the UR Extended, and it's crazy. This display has multiple layers of depth, so your eyes can focus on things close to you or further away, and it's difficult to capture how cool it looks on camera because it just looks like the display is changing focus, but it's not. That's just my camera focusing on the different layers. It's nuts to view this in person. And it's pricey at $12,000, so I don't think we'll be seeing this in everyone's house soon, but it's a cool concept. Next up is XGIMI, today's sponsor, with something that really surprised me at CES. Check this out. This is the XGIMI Ascent, an all-in-one home theater that saves space and style. It features an ultra short throw screen that rises from a Harman Kardon soundbar. Yes, that sleek furniture-looking piece is actually a soundbar with 8 speakers. Even though the soundbar is low to the ground, the speakers are positioned to point at ear level when sitting. It supports Dolby Atmos and the sound is incredible. The image quality was bright and crisp even with the ceiling lights on, thanks to the ALR screen, which blocks overhead light but not the projectors. It feels just like a massive TV. And when not watching a movie, it can go partially up for different modes to have on in the background. And its ultra short throw design means the projector can sit very close to the screen, keeping the setup super compact. When the screen is fully down, it barely takes up any space. The Ascend launches later this year, but if you can't wait, check out the Aqara 2 short throw projector available now, or consider the Horizon S Max, a more affordable long throw option with the same great tech as the Horizon Max. Huge thanks to XGIMI for supporting the channel. CES is so much fun, especially when the CEO of Strutt tells you to run him over on a motorized wheelchair. I'm gonna ram the CEO, here we go. I'm sitting in the most high-tech wheelchair I've ever seen, with quad motors and 2 LiDAR sensors in front. Those map out 360 degrees around the wheelchair, and it's displayed on the little screen. This allows me to just push forward or backward on the control stick, and the wheelchair automatically avoids running into any walls. So cool! So when the CEO told me to run him over, well, I couldn't because the sensors stopped me. And I tried running over others on the show floor, but the wheelchair just avoided everyone. And I promise, I'm not this dangerous while driving. Just when I think all the RGB lamps have been invented, Govee surprises me again with their booth. They have these massive skyline kits that mount from the floor to the ceiling or from one wall to the other. There's also the Table Lamp Pro 2. It can do multiple colors at once and has a clear section to show off the JBL speaker inside. Kinda reminds me of the old Apple Pro clear speakers but with RGB. Plus, Govee showed off a new pixel light. Looks kind of like a game controller, but it uses AI to display pixel art. It comes in 2 sizes, and I think my kids would love something like this. Govee is trying to make more practical lights too, and not only RGB lights for gamers. Like this ceiling light, it's extremely bright and the warm and cool whites look great. Plus there's an ambient light that can be controlled independently that bounces light off the ceiling. Since this works with Matter and looks nice, I would consider this for my smart home. Nice work, Govee. If you eat too many salty foods like I do, you have to see this shocking device. It's a spoon invented in Japan with an electric current to make your food taste saltier. Yeah, seriously, it shocks you. I was nervous to try it since I didn't want to share a spoon with all of CES, but I'm doing it for you guys. You have to hold the spoon like a toddler to keep the current going through, and I felt a slight shock at the front of my tooth and my brain short-circuited. But it tasted a little saltier, I guess. And don't worry, I licked the spoon really clean for the next person to try. Also, a couple of affordable smart thermostats were announced at CES, which I'm a big fan of. First is the Ecobee Essential. It's $129 and basically a nicer looking Ecobee light. So it doesn't have presence sensing, but that can be added with a remote sensor. It doesn't work with Matter, unlike the next thermostat, the X2S from Honeywell Residio. This one is not flashy at all, but it does work with Matter and it's only $80, so if Matter and affordability are your main requirements, then Honeywell has you covered. Alright, how do you know if someone cold plunges? It's easy. They'll tell you about it non-stop. At least that's what the founder of ChillShark told us at the booth, and he for sure cold plunges. If you want to join the phenomenon but don't want another tub, well, this is your solution. It turns any bathtub into a cold plunge and takes just 2 hours to go from 70 to 45 degrees. Right now the pre-sale price is $2,400, and this seems like a cool, or I should say freezing, portable solution for using what you already have in your home. This next device is one of the easiest installs ever, especially for water monitoring. Droplet attaches to the outside of your main water line, then it measures water flowing through at a rate of 50 times per second. Basically, you can teach it what different activities are so it can track how much water you're using. Then if something seems out of the ordinary, it alerts you of a leak. They did a demo of a leaking sink and it worked really well, which is always impressive to see a demo actually work at CES. It's $229 and available now. Probably the strangest booth at CES was Samsung's. I wandered around looking for the new devices they announced at CES. The Frame Pro TV, the stretchy screen, the big foldable, and I found nothing. They just talked a lot about smart things, which you would think would be a good thing since they're taking smart homes more seriously. Nope. All the features were just things announced last year, so the biggest part of their booth didn't get one upgrade since last year. Okay. But wait, they showed you how you can use smart things on your yacht? I wish I was making this up, but I promise this is real. I mean, how many yacht owners are walking through this booth looking for a smart home system for it? I told you, strangest booth at CES. Anker Solix line has 2 new devices that are perfect for camping. First, their EverFrost 2 cooler is an electric cooler available in March. It comes with a detachable battery for up to 52 hours of refrigeration. You can also add a second battery and plug in your devices to charge when it's not cooling. Once it's time to recharge the cooler, well, that's when you whip out your solar umbrella. This was just announced and it supports 100 watts of output, and it will be available this summer. It's nice that you can escape the real world by bringing all this tech out into nature with you, so you can doom scroll and not run out of battery. Okay, I saved one of my favorites for last. Batteries and smart home sensors can be a major pain, but that could be a thing of the past. WePower is using kinetic energy to power smart home sensors. They showed how a button press can send a Zigbee signal to turn on a light, or know if a door is opened or closed. But what I really liked is the water leak sensor. Instead of using a battery that will die over time or not even alert you about a leak after the battery dies, well, this uses paper. Check it out. Wrap this small piece of paper around the sensor using a magnet to set the sensor, and it could sit there for like 10 years and be totally fine. Then when water hits it, the paper naturally breaks and the sensor sends a Zigbee signal that the leak is detected. I love how they're thinking outside the battery and solving real issues. I had a blast at CES this year, and the tech keeps getting crazier. Whoa, what's all these guys gathering around this booth for? It's just a robotic lady that looks lifelike. I don't see why... Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Never mind. Yeah, that's not creepy at all. Nope. Just completely normal.